Welcome back. The news in full. President Abdel Fattah ElSissi continues activities in New York on the sidelines of his participation in the UN General Assembly meetings. He is to take part in the International Climate Conference that is to be held on Monday. He is to give a speech before the conference reviewing views by Cairo, Africa and developing nations over climate change, one of the most pressing threats to the international community. Africa is reportedly the hardest hit continent with the repercussions of climate change. Thought its output share of harmful gases is remarkably low compared to international levels.
President Abdel Fattah ElSissi takes part in the 74th United Nations General Assembly for the 6th time since he assumed office in 2014. In his visit to Egypt, the UN General Assembly President Maria Fernanda praised Egypt's active participation in various activities during the UN and the international multilateral forums. Here is a closer look at Egypt's participation in the United Nations General Assembly session.
ElSissi participated for the 6th time in the UNGA since he assumed office in June 2014. Egypt's foreign policies have witnessed significant developments seen in the global and regional arenas. Egypt is a key player in fighting terrorism globally and boosting peace through its 30,000 soldiers' participation in UN peacekeeping missions, along with Egypt's efforts to solve Syrian, Palestinian, Yemeni and Libyan crises. In the war against terrorism, the UN Security Council adopted a draft resolution on terrorism that was drafted by Egypt. President ElSissi's participation in the 69th, 70th, 71st, 72nd and 73rd sessions of the UNGA highlighted Egyptian foreign diplomacy through his speeches before UNGA leaders and participants. The agenda of the 73rd session of the General Assembly's meeting focused on development issues, preserving international security, fighting terrorism, and human rights. Egypt participated in the sessions in the presence of President Abdel Fattah ElSissi, carrying on an agenda full of important international, regional, and national issues. The President explained Egypt's achievements in fighting terrorism, results of the comprehensive Operation Sinai 2018 and Egypt's vision of developments in the Middle East, especially in Palestine, Syria and Libya. The Middle East issues came on top of Egypt's priorities, including the Palestinian cause, the Syrian crisis, situation in Libya and Yemen, combating terrorism, development in Africa, respect of international law and the protection of human rights, as well as the topics of peacekeeping and peace building. Meanwhile, the various leaders and presidents was also on President Sisi's agenda during his participation in the 73rd UNGA, as he discussed means of enhancing the bilateral relations between Egypt and these countries at various levels and in different fields. The head of state also discussed the developments of regional and international issues. The 74th session of UNGA are scheduled to be run from 17th to 30th of September. In a statement on its website, UNGA said the presidency of the 74th session was zoned to Africa in full respect of the established principle of geographical rotation, among other reasons. The current president, Maria Fernanda Espinosa, who is the foreign minister of Ecuador, was elected on June 5th and assumed duty on September 18, 2018. Thus, she will step aside on September 17th as the UNGA presidency runs on a one-year tenure. President Abdel Fattah ElSissi starts an official visit to the United States to take part in the 74th round of the UN General Assembly. During his visit, President ElSissi is to hold a series of summit talks with a number of heads of states and government participating in UNGA meetings in New York. President ElSissi is to deliver Egypt's statement before the general session of the UN General Assembly. In his speech, the President is to tackle Egypt's vision and its stances regarding the regional and international developments, as well as a number of economic, social and development issues, as well as the causes of the African continent in light of President ElSissi's chairmanship of the African Union. Presidential spokesman Ambassador Bassam Radi said the head of state is to participate in a number of high-level sessions that would be held during the 74th round of the UN General Assembly with the participation of world leaders tackling a number of causes and current challenges that face the international community. Meanwhile, members of the Egyptian community in the United States organized a rally to welcome President ElSissi, to express their support for Egypt and for its leadership, and to express their appreciation of the president's efforts in the field of development.
On the sidelines of preparations for the 74th round of the UN General Assembly, Foreign Minister Sameh Shoukry held a meeting in the headquarters of the permanent Egyptian delegation to the UN in New York with the diplomatic team. He is also to meet during his visit to New York, which continues until the end of this month, with a number of US officials over means of boosting bilateral ties.
Within the framework of the ministry's efforts in pursuing armed elements of the outlaw terrorist organization and to abort their plans to carry out with hostile attacks aiming at destabilizing security and stability, the Ministry of Interior issues a statement on Saturday saying that the state national security sector received information a terrorist member of Hasm terrorist group affiliated to the outlaw Muslim Brotherhood has taken an apartment in Motareya as a hideout for him and to store weapons in preparation to execute a number of hostile operations. The ministry noted that as forces broke into the terrorist hideout, he started firing at them who dealt with him, resulting in the death of terrorist Amr Ahmed Mahmoud, Muhammad Abdel Hassan, and the injury of 2 security state officers. The forces found a number of different firearms, a huge quantity of bullets, RPG, and a number of its shells, large quantities of explosives, electronic circuits to prepare for bombs, and a combat jacket. Meanwhile, all legal procedures have been taken and the Supreme State Prosecution is following up with investigations.
The State Information Service, SIS, called on international media agencies and its correspondents accredited in Cairo to abide by the internationally recognized professional rules when covering Egypt's news. The SIS said that it has followed with great concern what those world media agencies and channels had reported or published during the past 24 hours and called on world media correspondents to adhere to the media professional guidelines and rules. At the end of its statement, it said that it was ready to cooperate with all the correspondents and international media and to give all the access to information and provide all facilities as long as the correspondents are committed to professionalism and credibility so as to make sure that realities on ground are accurately reported.
The Committee of Political Parties, Youth and Politicians released a statement on Saturday saying it followed with the utmost concern what happened on Friday, whether on the ground or what was circulated on social media. In a statement, the committee stressed that the Egyptian people proved their full awareness of the ways used by the terrorist media to forge reality. The statement added that freedom of expression is a constitutional right for every citizen, yet Egyptians should carefully stop the evil forces and prevent them from using the freedom of speech as a tool to destroy the nation's stability. The statement noted that the committee, as a youth entity for political parties, which includes all political sects, highlights the importance of defending Egypt against any destructive plans or false rumors, to resume the development process and to listen to all views within full respect of the law and the Constitution and far from realizing the terrorist group's goals. In another statement, the Egyptian Parties Coalition called upon the Egyptian people to play their usual national patriotic role to defend the country's security and stability against the suspected calls launched by the terrorist groups. The parties tackled in their statement the latest achievements of the state in all fields, notably constructing the new cities, developing the infrastructure, promoting the healthcare services, and modernizing the educational system. The statement was signed by 43 political parties.
Iranian President Hassan Rouhani will present a plan for creating security in the Gulf in cooperation with other countries in the region when he attends the United Nations General Assembly in New York this week. We have more